He had over-medication, and it was a serious problem. And the exact people who were doing this, I'm not going to point any fingers. All I know is that I had warned that this was a problem, and this is my worst fear. It is a nightmare.
Tough words, Ted. You're at the coroner's office. Is Michael Jackson still at the coroner's office?
Yeah, I understand the body is still here in the possession of the coroners. However, it is available for release to the family. The family is still finalizing arrangements as to the mortuary that will take the body. The coroner's office, however, is finished with the autopsy and finished with the body. Again, the most important information that they are waiting on is those toxicology reports. They say that they expect them in about 4 weeks.
Ted, from listening to those 911 recordings, is it your understanding, because I think this is the way I interpret this, that the 911 operator was told that Michael Jackson was being given, or they were attempting to revive him by doing chest compressions while he was still lying on a bed. Is that your understanding?
Well, that's what the caller told the 911 operator when the operator asked, where is this, where is he, the patient, and he said he's on a bed, and then right away you could hear the operator say, get him on the floor, get him on the floor.
Because you're not supposed to do chest compressions on a soft surface. There has to be a wooden board or a hard floor beneath the person.
Obviously, and that's what the 911 operator wanted to make sure. Now, it could have been a panicked individual on the phone who may have just said bed, and it may have been a surface that was hard. We don't know. We do know that this doctor was with him, and obviously, you could feel the tension and hear him in the background performing what he was hoping would be life-saving techniques on Jackson at the time.
All right, Ted Rowland. Ted, appreciate it. You heard Brian Oxman's take in Ted's report. It was echoed and amplified today by longtime Jackson friend Dr. Deepak Chopra, who spoke earlier with Wolf Blitzer. Listen to what he has to say.
Okay, so after the trial in 2005, Michael came and spent a week with me. He stayed at my house. He came to our center. And at one point, he suddenly asked me for a prescription. He knew I was a physician. I had a DEA license. And he asked me for a prescription for a narcotic. And I said, what the heck do you want a narcotic for a prescription for? And it suddenly dawned on me that he was already taking these and that he had probably a number of doctors who were giving him these prescriptions. So I confronted him with that. And at first he denied it. Then he said he was in a lot of pain. He said he had back pain. I knew all the pain was muscle aches and pains and musculoskeletal pains from the stress that he was going through. I said, Michael, you don't need these drugs for that. There's so many ways to do it. And for a while, I lost him. You know, I've had that happen with me with other celebrities in Hollywood. There's a plethora of doctors in Hollywood. They're drug peddlers, Wolf. They're drug pushers. They just happen to be having a medical license. And I hope that this episode today, this tragic death of a great human being, will bring to light the huge problem we have in Hollywood with some of the medical establishment, the celebrity doctors who not only initiate people into the drug experience, but then they perpetuate it so that the people become dependent on them. I will be bold enough to identify these people at a certain time, but I think the police should do their own investigation. And I think this is something that really should be investigated because it's a disease. The #1 cause of drug addiction in the world, and particularly in the United States, is not street drugs, but medical prescriptions.
Could those drugs have killed him or played some role?
Well, you know, a lot of drugs can at certain doses, if they get toxic or high enough, can cause death in different ways. For example, the medications that Dr. Chopra was referring to are what are called respiratory depressants. So they make you stop breathing or slow your breathing down so much so that you're really not getting enough air or specifically oxygen into your blood. And that lack of oxygen in the blood can affect your heart and ultimately your brain. And that's one way that these drugs can cause sudden cardiac arrest.
Why would someone be getting injections of Demerol at the same time that they're taking OxyContin?
Well, it's a great question. You know, I mean, one thing you can say about most of these opioids, these types of medications, is that some people could develop tolerance to them. So what may have worked a year ago won't work as well now, and so on. So that's why you start increasing doses as well as different types of medications. But it's very hard for me to speculate as to why injections of Demerol and OxyContin.
Dr. Drew, how easy is it in Los Angeles for a celebrity to basically find a doctor to give him whatever he wants? I mean, you heard Dr. Deepak Chopra is calling these MDs drug pushers.
Yeah, I know. I think I spoke, Dr. Chopra and I were in the green room just before he went on that show, and I think I whipped him into a frenzy there. But we do agree precisely on this point that there is profound overuse of opioid medication, that there are physicians that feel gratified by being able to take care of celebrity. And I think, although well-meaning sometimes, they end up stringing these people out and unknowingly getting them addicted. Look, this is a very serious tragedy, but I agree with absolutely everything that's been said so far. This is how my patients die. It looks like a rose, it smells like a rose. All my patients, when they go through the experiences, end up with chronic pain, they end up receiving meds from multiple doctors, and they end up dead.